Welcome to another episode of Readiness in 5 or Less. Today we're going to be talking about enterprise logins and the ArcGIS platform. We're going to be specifically focusing on ArcGIS Online, but everything we talk about today works exactly the same in the enterprise environment. To get started, let's review how ArcGIS Online manages users without enterprise logins.
Imagine that ArcGIS Online is a party with a bouncer. To get into the party, everyone has to show ID, and the bouncer checks their name against a list. In ArcGIS Online, users have to sign in and the credentials are checked against a user database. Anyone without appropriate credentials is refused access. However, ArcGIS Online is rarely the only software service that employees need to have access to. They may also need to have access to Office 365, Salesforce, and so on, as well as access to the local network. Without enterprise logins, organizations need to create and then manage separate user accounts for every service that their employees use. Then, if an employee leaves, all of those accounts need to be deleted. Managing all of these accounts can create a large administrative overhead. So what large organizations will do instead is use an identity provider, or IDP. This is a service that exists specifically to manage a user database. The other software services can be configured to refer to the identity provider anytime a user from that organization signs in. Thus, each employee only needs an account with the identity provider to access all of the other services they need. The software services in the identity provider transmit the user's login information using Security Assertion Markup Language, or SAML. This is why enterprise logins are sometimes referred to as SAML logins. In our analogy, this means that the bouncer doesn't have a list anymore, but instead will ask the identity provider to determine who has access and who doesn't. So what do enterprise logins look like in ArcGIS Online? If you're signing into arcgis.com, you will need to choose the enterprise logins option and then enter the organization URL. Alternatively, you can go directly to your organization page. Either way, you will end up on this page with two options: sign in with your enterprise login or use a regular ArcGIS Online login. The first time that a user logs into ArcGIS Online with an enterprise account, ArcGIS Online will reach out to the identity provider to get confirmation that the user has appropriate permissions. Once it has that information, a new user account is created using the enterprise login name and the organization name as the user sign-in. Some things to keep in mind while working with enterprise logins.
Enterprise logins are configured by matching user identifying fields in the identity provider with user identifying fields in ArcGIS Online. For example, the name field of the identity provider would need to be matched with the name ID field in ArcGIS Online. If you're having trouble setting up enterprise logins in your organization, it may be because these fields are not correctly matched.
The enterprise configuration workflows, including the field matchings, are documented in the ArcGIS Online Help website for the following IDPs: Active Directory Federation Services, or ADFS, NetIQ Manager, Okta, OpenAM, Shibboleth, and Simple SAML PHP. If you are working with another SAML 2.0 IDP, you will need to work with your IT to figure out the correct workflow. Lastly, if you have more enterprise users than ArcGIS Online users, they will be granted access to ArcGIS Online in a first-come, first-served basis. For example, here we have 5 ArcGIS Online slots and 6 enterprise users. 4 of the users are already signed in and filled those slots. The last slot will go to whichever of the remaining 2 users signs in first. An account will not be created for the last user.
To recap, we talked about non-enterprise logins in ArcGIS Online, what enterprise logins are, and how enterprise logins work in the ArcGIS platform. And that's it for this episode of Readiness in 5 or Less. Thanks for watching.